Professional boxer. Marvis Frazier fought Jake Paul. Jake Paul's dead. He's dead. He's not going to make it.
Stop talking. He's battling a professional, and I don't give a dude a look. Jake Paul and Marvis Frazier fought. Jake Paul is dead and won't survive. So Joe Rogan humiliated Jake Paul when Jake called off his planned battle with Mike Tyson. Yes, you read correctly, the eagerly awaited clash of the eras is back. Going up in smoke thanks to Jake, who is still out there behaving like the king of the world and pretending as though calling off battles whenever he wants isn't a huge problem. Really, the man leaves the biggest event of his career as if it were just another workday. But this time, Joe Rogan has had enough of canceling on a legend like Mike Tyson, and he won't tolerate it. You know, Joe doesn't mince words when it comes to honoring the sport and its icons, and Jake just went too far. Rogan released a verbal smackdown on Paul, and he's not holding back. Look, you can be an influencer, a YouTuber, or anything else, but when you step into the ring with a legend, you better respect the game. And guess what? Jake is out here looking like the biggest villain in the fight game right now. Let's break it down, okay? Well, this is where things get messy. After Jake, Paul called off the Mike Tyson fight. He began to play the sympathy card, saying that his health wasn't up to par and that he couldn't perform at his best. However, no one was buying it, and Joe Rogan was the first to call him out in a recent podcast episode. It's reasonable to assume that Joe was furious and wasn't accepting any of Jake Paul's justifications when he went off on him. Rogan made it apparent that Jake couldn't continue to play the YouTuber card while attempting to pass as a serious fighter, saying, "If you want to act like a real boxer, stop hiding behind these lame excuses." Joe wasn't only let down, he was, "I'm furious because Mike Tyson is a legend." Joe stated bluntly that you don't show disrespect to someone like Mike Tyson by giving up with flimsy excuses. You're in the fight world. You have to be prepared for anything that comes your way. Rogan then hit Jake where it hurt, essentially criticizing him for caring more about his influencer image than actually entering the ring like a real boxer. Let's talk about the incredible amount of hype surrounding the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. This wasn't just any fight, it was the one that everyone had been talking about for years. Come on, Mike Tyson, one of the most dangerous men in boxing history, was going to face Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxing sensation who has been knocking out opponents left and right. The internet was abuzz, fans were making predictions, and the media was covering it. Fans were counting down the days until November 15, 2024 at the AT&T Arena in Arlington, Texas. Mike appeared to be ready to eat as he was out here. Jake was doing what he does best, talking trash and getting himself hyped up like he was untouchable. Jake was alive and doing well. It was just a matter of Mike Tyson closing the distance. He is as fast as he is as hard as he hits, and I maintain that he is the greatest heavyweight ever. If you're unfamiliar with Joe Rogan's relationship with Tyson, let me quickly explain it. The tension was through the roof, fans were going crazy, tickets were selling out faster than concert seats, and everyone was placing their bets. Since Joe is essentially Tyson's biggest fan and serves as the unofficial president of the Mike Tyson fan club, you can see the admiration on his face whenever he mentions Tyson on his podcast. We're talking about a man who's been in combat sports for decades and has witnessed it all, and he still treats Mike like a living legend because, well, he probably has a picture of Mike Tyson on his wall at home. Problem Child ends the fight of a lifetime with Tyson Joe. This is obviously devastating news, and I'm heartbroken, speechless, and gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event. The entire undercard. This is an opportunity that has been stolen from all of us. But I do value Mike's health first and foremost because I love that guy and I respect him so much. So let's talk about why Jake Paul genuinely pulled out of this bout, because up until the fight was called off, his so-called injury justification sounded incredibly phony. Jake has been doing great, sharing training videos and showing off on Instagram. He hasn't shown any symptoms of illness, including limping or resting. Mike Tyson, who is approaching 60 and yet in excellent physical condition, is the only person who should even be thinking about health issues because Jake appeared to be in the finest shape of his life. Tyson hasn't backed down or voiced any complaints about his health, he still looks like he could defeat a whole generation of boxers. Actually, Tyson stated unequivocally that he would not be sympathetic to Jake in the ring and would not be forgiving of him simply because Jake is a YouTuber or younger. Jake knew that Tyson wanted to show that he could still hang out with the best despite his advanced age, and that's where it gets shady. Just when it's time to throw up, Jake starts bringing up these enigmatic health issues and injuries that just appeared out of nowhere. The timing couldn't be more ideal. It's almost as if Jake knew Tyson wouldn't hold back, and rather than face a brutal beating in front of millions, he simply bailed. Jake didn't want that smoke, and everyone else was thinking the same thing. Tyson wasn't trying to be polite, and Jake just died before the bell rang. His justifications are flimsy, the timing is dubious, and now the entire boxing community is doubting him. You could hear the disappointment and irritation in Joe Rogan's voice, and his response was blazing. Joe has experience in combat sports and is aware of what it takes to be a true warrior. He has witnessed fighters like Conor McGregor, Khabib Anderson Silva, and others who never back down from a challenge. As a result, when Jake Paul withdraws from his fight with Mike Tyson, a legendary figure who is over 50 but still ready to fight, Joe is prepared to give him what he deserves on day 2. Let's not forget that Mike Tyson is a complete machine at the age of 58. Mike Tyson was practicing like there was no tomorrow, preparing for this fight like a novice preparing for his debut. He has been working hard on his gym, and we're talking about powerful combos. Lightning Jake might have thought he was entering the ring with an elderly man, but Mike was out there training like it was 1986 all over again, and Joe Rogan knows this better than anyone else. His fast footwork, his signature head movement, his jab, his hooks, and his famous uppercut let you know it's a fight if it connects. Tyson may be approaching 60, but trust me, his punching power hasn't aged a day. His speed and strength would still give any box nightmares because his work on the heavy bag is so terrifying. Jake Paul is dead and won't survive, but if Mike Tyson from Marvis Frazier had fought Jake Paul is no longer alive and won't be for years. When Jake cancels, it seems like he's tarnishing the legacy of a man who revolutionized heavyweight boxing, and you can be sure that Joe Rogan won't allow that disrespect to go unchecked. Rogan has been promoting Tyson as one of the scariest fighters in history. There was a time when people were literally afraid to enter the ring with Mike, and that aura hasn't diminished. Larry Holmes, the thing about Joe Rogan is that when he speaks, the entire combat sports world listens. He is more than just a podcast host, he is the voice of combat sports. He has been calling UFC fights for years, breaking down some of the most bizarre moments in fighting history. So when he says you're messing up in the fight game, you better believe he's right now. I believe that Mike Tyson is the best heavyweight of all time. I don't think anyone can match him. Joe believes that Jake Paul is more of a clout chaser than a true fighter. Sure, Jake has made waves in the boxing world, but he should not cancel a fight with Mike Tyson if he wants to be taken seriously. Joe made it clear that Jake must stop avoiding real challenges if he wants to be a legitimate boxer. Joe didn't mince words. He told Jake that if boxing is your thing, you should fight Mike Tyson without hesitation or excuses. He also said that he has a point. Mike is prepared. Mike is hungry, and despite his advanced age, he is still a formidable opponent, but Jake no. When a guy like Jake challenges you, he dipped out before the fight could even begin. When you are challenged by a man like Paul, does it make you angry?